other people, you have to be, you know, living and breathing those kind of values yourself first. Even if you hold them in high regard, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to live them, if you understand what I mean.
I think it's really interesting what you said about being an example first.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's really one of the most important things. You have to, it's not what you say, it's what you do, isn't it?
absolutely. I mean, that was really driven home to me in my business when one of the people that was working for me blatantly lied to me. And
Really?
yeah, and I was, initially I believed them. I believed the story that they told me. I, you know, just took it on face value. And when I discovered that they had lied, because somebody told me that they were lying, and I investigated it and found out that was the truth, I
Mm.
was really upset. And I kind of, you know, went inward and thought, why is somebody doing that to me? Why are they lying to me? That's, you know, honesty is one of my biggest values. Like this, one of the things I hold in the most esteem, if you
Me
like,
too.
you
Yeah.
know. And I kind of sort of thought, right, from now on, and this is quite a big promise, I'm not going to lie to anybody again.
Wow.
And it's, you know, everybody goes, oh no, you know, it's easy to be honest. You don't have to lie to anybody. But actually, we're all a little bit conservative with our truth sometimes. You can bend the truth, you can be economical with the truth. And I don't mean be unkind. I don't mean sort of, you know, go, God, your hair looks awful today or anything like that.
No.
But I'm just saying, if somebody asks you something, you're honest with them, and you don't try and cover up anything as well. So it's very easy to kind of sort of, you know, pass the blame if nobody discovers that it was actually your fault. So I was, from that point onwards, I decided, right, I'm not lying to anybody else. I'm going to lead by example and show people what I expect of them. And, you know, you can't ever guarantee it's not going to come back to you. You can't ever guarantee nobody's ever going to lie to you again. But I think if you know yourself
No,
that
that's
you're
true.
conducting yourself the way, then
And you just mean lying, you're not going to lie about yourself, or you mean about
I'm not,
others as well?
I'm not going to tell any untruths.
Wow.
But that in itself is subject to interpretation, is it? Because your truth is not my truth.
Okay.
And
Oh, yeah,
so,
that's true.
but what I mean is, I wouldn't like, you know, if you asked me an honest question, like you said to me, you know, what
Mm.
did you have for your lunch? Oh yes,
Yeah.
I had a salad. You know, it's just not, it's not me. I'm not going to do it. But I did actually have a salad, but you know, that's not the point. But you know what? It's kind of, for me, it's an important thing to lead by example. You know, to bring it back to the
And
topic.
do you think people have reacted differently towards you, like since now you're more direct with them, or
I think
haven't really noticed?
I've
Mm.
always valued direct people. I've always valued, it can be hurtful sometimes, and it can really kind of unseat you, if you like, when somebody is very direct and that. But I would
Yeah.
rather them be direct than snipe about me behind my back. And so I would always say, you know, if you've got something to say it to me so I can do something about it, you know, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? When you're having an interaction with somebody, you want to be able to, you know, kind of alter the way you are, or, you know, whatever. If they're not responding in a good way, you always want to be able to adjust your behavior, not to change who you are, but just to suit them better. And, you know, sort of always be mindful that other people's considerations are, you know, just as up there in priorities as yours are. um but I think I would say that by other people being more direct to me and me sort of encouraging a lack of, you know, bitchiness or behind the back sort of scenarios, I've found that now being direct myself has been much more profitable in terms of, you know, just saying what I feel straight away. Um,
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Sometimes it's quite freeing if you can just, because it's like you're being more yourself, aren't you?
yeah,
And I think
totally.
the closer you are to being yourself, the freer you become. And
Yes,
then probably you allow others to be themselves as well.
yeah, I think that's a fair point. Yes, yeah. I mean, you know me, I can't hold anything in. If I feel something, I'm kind of like right there on my sleeve, it's kind of difficult. So obvious. And, that was from a very early age. I was very kind of, it was obvious if I wasn't happy, or if I'm really happy, it's, polar opposites kind of thing. But I think
Transfer.
it's important to be able to just articulate that really and, say what you feel because I think, um, yeah, like you say, it fosters a better relationship with whomever you're talking to if you can be totally yourself and honest and open with the way you're feeling about, whatever it is you're discussing, So yeah, yeah.
More real, isn't it? And do you think going back to being a leader or a follower, so as a leader, it's good to be transparent then? Do
I
you
think
think
so.
real and say how you feel and
Yeah, I think
communication?
yeah. In business, sometimes you have to be a little bit more guarded, I would say. So
Oh,
you can be transparent in the way that you feel about people, but I think you have to have a certain measure of distinction between being a friend and being a professional colleague. And so that can get muddied if you're not careful. But I think, like you say, if the leadership is obvious, then it never, those lines never become blurred because you're always the boss, if you like. And I know that sounds very sort of, patriarchal, but I don't mean it like that. But I just mean that, you can keep that delineation between, you're my employee, you're not my friend, and that can be tricky sometimes if you are very open with people.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah, how do you keep those boundaries so it's safe? So it's safe so they can you allow honesty
mm.
between both people, but then you stay professional as well. How do you? I think that sounds
I
quite.
think you have to, it's a bit like coaching, in a coaching session where you go in and you design your alliance. So you say, how do you want me to be? And
Yeah, yeah,
sort of like set the boundaries, if you like. I think that's one of the things I recommend. It's in one of my freebie books, actually, is set your boundaries and make sure you stick to them. So you give and I don't want to use this analogy I use it very lightly, is with
yeah.
children, you give them boundaries. You tell them what time it's bedtime, you tell them what you're going to do as the lead up to bed. And so they get into a routine and their expectations are then managed. So you can then, you work within a kind of framework which is really, really safe. And